Hello and welcome back to the channel, and I am glad you are here. Today we are going to talk about airships and view them in their amazing splendor. You don't want to miss out on this one. I really hope you enjoy it. Let's begin. For a brief and remarkable period in the early 20th century, the future of global travel did not belong to airplanes. It belonged to airships. Long before commercial jets, before airports and radar, enormous, lighter-than-our vessels crossed oceans and continents with ease. They were not experimental curiosity. They were operational, reliable, and prolific. The most advanced, long-distance aircraft of their time. By 1910, rigid airships had already demonstrated something airplanes could not: endurance. They could remain aloft for days, sometimes weeks. They required no runways, minimal fuel, and relatively small ground crew. They could hover, loiter, observe, and land almost anywhere. To early engineers, airships were not a dead end. They were the logical future of flight. During the 1910s and 1920s, fleets of airships operated across Europe, Asia, and the Atlantic. Germany's Zeppelin company alone built over 100 rigid airships. These were not fragile machines. They were flying structures engineered with internal frameworks, multiple engines, and redundant lift cell. Their most famous creation, the Graf Zeppelin, flew more than 1 million miles, completed hundreds of successful flights, and carried thousands of passengers without serious incident. It circled the globe. It flew to the Arctic. It maintained scheduled international service. This was not speculation. This was infrastructure. Passengers aboard these vessels did not strap in. They walked. They dined. They slept in private cabins. They looked out wide windows as continents drifted silently below them. Airships were not built around speed. They were built around presence. And yet, within a single generation, they vanished. The standard explanation is familiar. Airships were dangerous, inefficient, and quickly surpassed by aeroplanes. But the historical record tells a more complicated story. Early airplanes were not cheaper. They crashed frequently. They had limited range, minimal payload capacity, and required enormous investment in runways, fuel depots, and maintenance networks. Airships, by contrast, could cross oceans using a fraction of the fuel and land without permanent infrastructure. They also possessed another quality that made them unusual. They were difficult to integrate, not technologically, but institutionally. Airships moved slowly. They were highly visible. They could hover over borders, cities, and coastlines. They did not align with emerging military doctrines that increasingly emphasized intercession, rapid response, and centralized command of airspace. It is worth noting that after World War I, the construction of large airships in parts of Europe was restricted or discouraged by international agreements. While fixed-wing aircraft development accelerated rapidly under military and commercial funding. It is also worth noting that as airship programs declined, vast investments flowed into airport construction, aircraft manufacturing, fuel supply chains, and replacement cycles, industries that rewarded speed, turnover, and constant expansion. Then came the disasters. The public remembers one name, Hindenburg. What is less remembered is that by the time of its destruction, the Hindenburg had already completed dozens of successful flights. Its loss was statistically rare but visually unforgettable. Filmed, broadcast, replayed, and permanently etched into public memory. At the same time, aeroplane crashes, far more frequent, were treated as tragic but inevitable. Progress, the public was told, required acceptance of risk. Within years, airship programs were cancelled, defunded, or dismantled. Mooring towers were abandoned. Hangars were repurposed. An entire technological lineage disappeared almost overnight. And something else happened. The future of flight became faster, louder, more fuel-hungry, and more centralized. Travel shifted from endurance to urgency, from experience to throughput, from marvel to utility. Airships, slow, efficient, durable, did not align with this future. Today, nearly a century later, engineers once again study airships for cargo transport, surveillance, disaster relief, and a low-emission travel. Many quietly acknowledge that the physics never stopped working. The question, then, is not why airships fail. The question is why a technology that worked, that scaled, that inspired or was allowed or encouraged to disappear. Because airships were more than vehicles. They were a different vision of progress. A vision that valued elegance over speed, durability over disposability, and the sky not as a corridor, but as a place. Some futures, it seems, are not abandoned because they are impossible, but because they lead somewhere unintended. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed my video. Thank you and have a good one.